Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my privilege for over 20 years to represent our company. My background is I'm from a multi-generational medical family, and prior to coming on board with NSE and Pharmanex, I spent time in the medical device industry. Making the switch from working on the treatment side of disease and aging to the prevention side of the equation has truly been one of the most purposeful moves in my career to date. And there is no question that today's physicians are facing daunting challenges, from the 21% decrease in Medicare reimbursement to the impending new health care reform that looms over the heads of virtually every doctor in this country. We add to that the fact that we are not really winning the war over our two biggest opponents, heart disease and cancer, and nearly everyone agrees that there has to be a shift to preventative medicine. Until now, however, there's been little or no financial reward for the physician in making that shift. Tonight we'll show you the ultimate win-win, a wellness program for your practice integrating clinically proven measurement of a critical biomarker coupled with the only products you'll find in your PDR guaranteed to address this deficiency. So welcome to Pharmanex and the BioScan program. Now, to give you a little background on the history of the company and our product development philosophy, it's going to be my pleasure just shortly here to introduce you to the founder of Pharmanex, Dr. Joseph Chang. Now, Pharmanex was founded in 1996 by Joe and his colleague, Dr. Michael Chang. Joe was top man in product development at Wyeth Home Labs, and Michael, deputy director of medicinal chemistries at Merck. They identified the need for quality control and pharmaceutical standards lacking in the natural supplement industry. And they launched the company with products, with 5 products actually on the shelves of over 38,000 pharmacies and health food stores, and became an almost instant target for acquisition. While being courted by the biggest names in the pharma industry, they chose to be acquired by Nu Skin Enterprises for $135 million in 1998, and Joe will share with you why that transition occurred. Now, in our first month with qualified reps calling on medical doctors and healthcare professionals and pharmacies, in the field we did over $50 million that first month, which is what the company had done in the over-the-counter environment in the past year. And today, Pharmanex has grown to over $800 million of the $1.7 million that we will close this year out with. Billion that we will close this year out with. Now, what is the Pharmanex difference? First of all, it's our commitment to R&D with over 75, close to now 100 full-time PhD-level scientists. We also collaborate with over 150 different universities around the world, and we have implemented a rigorous discipline of success quality control. Now, when you look at our 75-plus PhD-level scientists today, you'll see that they represent multiple disciplines, which is the most robust R&D engine on the planet today, regardless of distribution channel. Add to that a Pharmanex advisory board that reads like the who's who of science, including Dr. Lester Packer, widely renowned as the father of antioxidant theory. When reviewing our scanner in the early days, Lester was so impressed that he went on CNN and told the world, the Pharmanex scanner validates my life's work. But when we look at the entire advisory board, it's truly amazing. We have the likes of Dr. Richard Weindrecht, founder of LifeGen Technologies, that if you're on the financial news at all, you saw that we acquired them recently for close to $12 million. These guys are and I say this loosely, of course, the gods of clinical research in genetic anti-aging. But we also have Carl Gerasi, the man that single-handedly put the baby boom to a halt with the discovery of the oral contraceptive, and it goes on and on. Now, these individuals collaborate with us on a yearly basis to reformulate our products, to keep these products on the cutting edge of research and development so you can recommend them to your friends, your family, and your patients with impunity. Now, this success process that we are so proud of begins with selection. To locate the botanicals with the most effective health-promoting properties, Pharmanex employs teams of experts from the United States and Asia. They use historical information and current intelligence about a botanical's properties and health. Hang on a second here, had a little problem. My screen has been miniaturized. Tracy, what do I do? Tracy, are you there? No, she's not on mute. She's off mute. Tracy, are you there? Okay. Folks, forgive the changes here, but we conduct original research to identify new botanicals. Okay, Tracy, I got it again. We are, needless to say, going to have to re-record this webinar. Okay. We also collaborate with 150 different universities, including Purdue, Kansas University, Columbia, Scripps, Beijing, among others, and only botanicals that pass extensive Pharmanex tests for authenticity and usefulness are considered. Then we go to sourcing. We identify the appropriate source, both domestic and international, based on their ability to grow the finest quality and concentration levels of active ingredients present in samples from that source. Then it comes to structure. Let's just take green tea as an example. Most companies out there will use any portion of the plant. Pharmanex identifies the specific aspect of that plant. When it comes to green tea, we use only the specific aspect or area of the leaf where the most potent form of those botanical ingredients reside. Then when it comes to standardization, I always reference consumer lab statistics that say the majority of over-the-counter supplements have absolutely no standardization. Capsule to capsule, bottle to bottle, batch to batch. We make sure that we optimize active ingredients of a product through a strict proprietary standardization process to the exact molecule. Now, in addition to that, when it comes to safety, this is one of my most favorite. And basically what it amounts to is this. When you look at the nutraceutical industry or the natural supplement industry, the few companies that test for contaminants test on average for between 5 and 15. Our company tests for up to 500. And we send back upwards of 40% of our raw materials that are sent to us each month from our trusted suppliers. And who do you think they go back out to? Companies that don't hold the standard that high. And last but not least, it's substantiation. Pharmanex only makes claims that can be substantiated through double-blind, placebo-based, randomized, controlled crossover efficacy studies. It's a position that it puts us head and shoulders above any other company in this industry. In fact, it has resulted in 5 of our products actually residing in your current PDR. Now, it's my pleasure at this point to introduce to you our very special guest speaker. Dr. Joe Chang is the visionary behind the founder of Pharmanex. He is the author of the recent New York Times best-selling book, The Aging Myth, that as I began to identify the shift in medicine that can occur when we have the goal of making aging optional. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Joseph Chang.
Thank you, Karen. Well, Karen has given you a fantastic backdrop of information regarding Pharmanex and how we came about. Being a co-founder of Pharmanex, and when Pharmanex was acquired by New Skin Enterprises back in 1998, the research and development team has actually grown quite substantially. So we're close to more than 75 PhD-level scientists, as Karen has mentioned, and we continue to grow this team both here and also in China. And in fact, you may know, if you have followed New Skin Enterprises, you would have gathered that we have just announced and in fact broken ground on a new innovation center at our Provo corporate headquarters that's going to cost the company close to $90 million to build and should be completed in about 2 years. At the same time, we also broken ground recently, just last week, in another innovation center that we are going to locate in China, specifically in Shanghai. And that, again, is to be able to access all the research on natural ingredients that is currently being conducted in that country. So we have a powerful multinational team of scientists, both here and in China, and all our scientific advisors around the world. So is in fact, I think it would not be inaccurate to say that within the world of nutrition and in the world of dietary supplements, our R&D team is most likely the largest and the most significant in the industry. So let me go ahead and talk a little bit about this new instrument that we have, and it's called the biophotonic scanner. And this is a technology that we launched back in 2003. And over the last 8 years or so, we have constantly improved it. And now we really have the scanner at a level of sophistication where it's reproducible. And I think the many studies that we have conducted with this particular technology validates that really it is the only scientific, non-invasive method to measure antioxidants in the body. And the reason why I think that's pretty key and important to all the listeners here is the fact that most people tend to sort of grade their antioxidants in a test tube, and while that's good, it is really not terribly meaningful in the body because many of these so-called antioxidant potency index that you can create in a test tube doesn't mean anything in the body because, for one thing, many of those antioxidants are either not absorbed when given orally, or it goes and that method in the test tube can only measure certain types of antioxidants. It's not a very good index of antioxidant potency for all types of antioxidants, whether they are fat-soluble or water-soluble. By contrast, I think the biophotonic scanner is, in fact, can measure all the antioxidants. And we are so confident about this technology that, as you can see here, we are more than willing to back up our confidence with a money-back guarantee with 2 of our products, one being called the Life Pack, and we have several versions of that. The most comprehensive and most complete is the one that's called Life Pack Nano, and we also have a liquid supplement that we call G3. If neither of these products gives you an improvement in antioxidant protection in the body, after administration, we'll give you a money back with no questions asked. So that's the level of confidence that we have. Now, Karen has also mentioned Professor Lester Packer, and he is indeed the founder of antioxidants. He has since retired, but remains a professor emeritus at UC Berkeley and also holds a faculty position down at USC in Los Angeles. And he's very well known in the antioxidant world, and I think his research, comprising of more than 300 peer-reviewed research articles, you would imagine his knowledge of antioxidants is very deep. And the mere fact that he endorses this particular antioxidant biophotonic scanner, I think it should be some, again, validates what we do and validates the technology as well. So briefly, the biophotonic scanner really answers a very important question, and that is that while many of us take supplements, how do you really know whether that particular supplement works? And I think with the biophotonic scanner, where you can measure before and after taking a particular supplement, the change in the antioxidant protection will tell you whether that supplement is orally bioavailable. So that's a pretty key thing to me. As a scientist, I view that, yeah, it's great, but if it doesn't get into circulation, an antioxidant supplement is not going to bring any meaningful benefits to the system. So if you look at the next slide, that shows you exactly what we are trying to measure with the biophotonic scanner. Again, I'll emphasize that it's non-invasive. In other words, it's using blue light, a particular type of blue light, at a specific wavelength, and if you shine this light on the skin, it can actually measure carotenoid antioxidants in the stratum corneum. So there's a layer deeper than the epidermis. As we well know, the epidermis is really a dead layer of the skin. You really have to go a little bit deeper than that to measure viable and living skin, and that's what a biophotonic scanner does. While it penetrates deep enough into the stratum corneum, I also wish to emphasize that it's entirely safe. It's not a damaging light. It doesn't injure any of the skin layer or the skin tissue. All it does is that once the light hits some carotenoid antioxidants, the change in the wavelength, if you will, and that's a specific property of carotenoids, that chain reflects the degree or the amount of carotenoids in the skin. So, and after you do that, the next question obviously is, well, exactly what is an ideal score? And we have, over the years, developed a fairly sophisticated yet simple way of measuring antioxidant, and that is what we call a skin carotenoid score. It is actually a color scale where you go from red or slight brown, if you like to call it that, yellow, green, and finally blue zones. And each zone reflects a certain range. For example, at the lowest antioxidant protection, we have chosen to denote that between 10,000 and 19,000, and that's the sort of scanner units, if you will. They're arbitrary, but you can easily convert that into mass or micrograms of carotenoid antioxidants found in the body. And then it goes on, each zone is really reflecting a 10,000 difference. Finally, when you measure and your score comes up above 40,000 and up, it will be in the blue zone, which is the highest antioxidant protection you can get off the biophotonics scanner measurement. So that's a simple scale, and it truly reflects what's happening in the body rather than in a test tube. So the ideal score for us would be, as much as you can, is the zone up, simply put, but really to get as close as possible to the blue zone, because that's where the ideal or optimum antioxidant protection score should be. Now, when you go to the next slide then, and you say, well, great, this score, what is it, what factors impact on the score? And I think perhaps this slide showing you the effect of fruits and vegetables consumption, this is our most meaningful data point where we can actually show that the score increases over the number of portions of fruits and servings that you eat. For example, if you eat less than 2 servings in fruits and vegetables daily, you would have the lowest score, and when you go up to 6 or more portions of fruits and vegetables, you will get a highest score possible from the biophotonic scanner measurement. And this is a type of studies, these are the types of studies that we use to scale that color scale I showed you before. And that's the rationale where we think in order to have really optimum antioxidant protection in your body, you got to be above or close to the blue zone, and that is as close as possible to 40,000. And the reason why 40,000 is meaningful is based on such data where we can see, and clearly the 6+ servings is the recommendation from the USDA and NIH that all of us should be eating as far as fruits and vegetables are concerned. So it's not a scale that we created without any clinical benefit or clinical relevance. I think you can see the combination of the previous slide and how we created that scale based on the studies or findings shown on this slide. You can begin to see that it is logical and it is sensible. Now, we also since then have compared whether there is a difference between male and female regarding the scanner score, and you can see on this particular slide that there are no differences between a male person and a woman. For intents and purposes, gender does not affect the scanner reading, and it's very gender neutral, if you will. And the numbers are pretty large. You can see that, and in the male population, we measured more than 700 people. In fact, after 10 years, we have actually measured more than 11 million people around the world, and the data has remained quite consistent, and that is the scan score is not dependent on gender. On the next slide, and this is important because this answers the question, well, fine, even if I accept that the biophotonic scanner measures skin carotenoids, how is it that it can be an index or a biomarker of overall antioxidant protection? And here we have done a lot of correlation studies where we measured within the same individual both what we call urinary isoprostane, and this is a very well validated biomarker of oxidative stress. And that is, the values are shown on the y-axis, the vertical axis, which denotes urinary F2 isoprostanes, and on the horizontal axis is the scanner score. And when we do, in science, what we call a regression analysis of the data, we can see there's a very good positive, or what we call an inverse correlation between oxidative stress and skin carotenoids. Simply put, as the skin carotenoid score goes up, there is less isoprostane in the urine, which means that the oxidative stress is reduced, and the antioxidants are therefore protecting the body from having a significant level of oxidative stress. Okay? So based on such studies, and this particular study is pretty key to us, we are confident in making the claim that while we are just measuring carotenoids, the carotenoids are in fact a very relevant biomarker of overall antioxidant status. Now, we have also corroborated and confirmed such findings where, again, we did a clinical study where here, in addition to measuring with the biophotonic scanner, the skin carotenoid, we took plasma from these individuals and measure in these folks the plasma levels of the non-carotenoid antioxidants such as vitamin E and vitamin C. And here, and again, I'll just point into the graph where on the vertical axis we measure the vitamins E and C level, and on the horizontal is the scan score. And in this instance, what we show is a positive correlation. In other words, there's a direct correlation between the scanner score and the plasma levels of antioxidant. As the scanner score increases, so do the levels of vitamin E and vitamin C in the blood. So I think taken together, both the previous data where we look at oxidative stress as measured by urinary isoprostanes, and here where we measure two other types of antioxidant in the plasma, we can say very confidently that once again the skin carotenoid score is in fact an overall antioxidant biomarker. Now that we have established it's a great biomarker of antioxidant protection, we then looked at some lifestyle habits. Here's a great example where we have intuitively believed that smoking, for example, is bad on antioxidants because smoking, every puff of cigarette smoke into your lungs produces trillions of free radicals, if you will, within the lung, and that ought to sort of bring the level of free radical to a level where antioxidants will be impacted negatively. So, as you can see here, on the y-axis, we are looking at the skin carotenoid score by the scanner, and each histogram denotes a particular population of people. So on the left, you have a group of non-smokers, and then slightly right next to it on the right is a bunch of smokers where we average. It doesn't really matter to us how much they smoke. And then the next column, the third column, represents past smokers. In other words, they had smoked but had given up smoking. And then the remaining three specifically addresses how many cigarettes they smoke each day. And you can see the highest scanner antioxidant score was found with the non-smokers, okay? And if you average out all the smokers, regardless of the number of cigarettes they smoke, they drop to about 13,000. And that was a very significant difference and marked difference that we now confirm that if you smoke, the free radicals overwhelm the amounts of antioxidants in the body, and the antioxidants start to drop. Past smokers are better. They do recover their antioxidant capacity or ability. And then there's a very nice dose-related effect or dose-response curve almost with one cigarette a day, 1 to 5 cigarettes a day, up to more than or greater than 5 cigarettes a day. And again, the more cigarettes you smoke a day, the less antioxidant protection. So very clear evidence that smoking has a negative impact on antioxidant protection. We also look at another lifestyle factor, and that would be obesity. And I won't want to go into the number of people that we have measured, but each of those pink points represent an individual. And we, once again, did this so-called regression analysis between weight and scanner score, and we can show there's an inverse correlation. Simply put, then, is that the highest score is associated with folks that are not overweight, and as there is more and more weight put on an individual, for all factors being equal except the weight, you can see weight also has a negative impact on scanner score. Somehow, obesity puts a very big load on antioxidant protection, and I think it makes sense because obesity does introduce an oxidative stress component to the system, and as I've already previously shown you, when you have high levels of oxidative stress, it reduces antioxidant levels in the body. So pretty good. We have weight having a negative impact. Smoking has a negative impact. So if anything else, the biophotonic scanner is very useful in helping either people who are trying to lose weight and give them another motivational reason to lose weight because their oxidative stress will be reduced. And again, for the smoking is a visual representation of what would happen to their body as far as antioxidants are concerned, because the more you smoke, the less protection you have. Now, obviously, the biophotonic scanner identifies very clearly a problem, a nutritional issue, and a challenge in the body as far as antioxidants are concerned. We can provide a solution. If you note, I showed you that or at least I mentioned to you, the USDA/NIH recommendation is that all of us should be eating greater than 6 portions of fruits and vegetables. Unfortunately, that's great at a theoretical and idealistic level, but another study, sort of an epidemiology study, has shown that in 76,000 people, not a single individual showed that they are or that he or she is consuming that amount or that number of portions of fruits and vegetables. So in the real world, nobody consumes that much. And this is where supplementation comes in. And in New Skin Enterprises, we do provide a product that's called Life Pack. It's a multivitamin, the most comprehensive micronutrient product on the market today, and we have done studies on how potent and how broad spectrum antioxidant benefits you would get from this product. And this slide shows that over a period of roughly 3 months, you can actually see a very good improvement in antioxidant protection in the body by consuming this particular product. And so taking all that, while these are studies that we had already conducted internally to prove that the biophotonic scanner and when it measures carotenoids is a biomarker. It has been confirmed by independent studies as well. So this is a particular paper published in the Journal of Nutrition, a well-respected peer-reviewed journal, read by most nutritionists and folks interested in nutrition science. It was published in 2004, and I merely summarize here the conclusions from this full paper. Note that it says that carotenoids, and in this instance, they didn't use the biophotonic scanner. They used plasma or blood carotenoids. They concluded that carotenoids are, in fact, a very good predictive indicator of total antioxidant status. Okay? And another important point is that they base this on the fact that carotenoids exist within this antioxidant network. And if there is unraveling or the decrease in the level of carotenoids, that antioxidant network in the body is compromised and somehow weakened. Importantly, if you measure blood vitamin E, they did not find that this was a good indicator of antioxidant status. So all things taken together, both our internal studies and such a third-party study, it would prove that I think when people mention that it's only carotenoids you're measuring, I think we are able to substantiate that it is a very good overall biomarker. And here are some scientific articles we have published on the biophotonic scanner, both in terms of using products and see how they affect the scanner score and how we validate the technology that we use. This so-called light technology is based on a particular physical principle related to Raman spectroscopy. And it's well validated now, and we've published quite a few of these studies together with academic investigators. Now, that would be the biophotonic scanner. We have that available, and I would encourage you to look at it and see whether that actually is meaningful in your practice or something you would get your hands on. I'd just like to spend the next few minutes in describing our latest technology that we have developed in Nu Skin, and that would be an approach, a new anti-aging approach that we call age-lock. That's a name that we coined, but fundamentally what we are beginning to understand and be able to discover is that there are certain genes in the human genome that directly control or regulate the aging process, okay? So in other words, while we can chronologically age, there's nothing we can do. That is inevitable. The biological aging process or component is not inevitable. That, in fact, if we can keep these genes young or influence their gene expression, we can, in fact, slow down the process by which biological aging occurs. That's a very profound discovery that we've made with age-lock, and, in fact, we believe that is the only way you can study aging now, and that is at the genetic level, rather than merely alleviating signs or symptoms of aging. We are now truly looking at the fundamental sources of aging. So with that in mind, we would call age-lock a genetic anti-aging approach. It's a paradigm that we have adopted going forward, and it's related to how genes are expressed, because when genes for all intents and purposes, when you look at it, they actually regulate who we are and what we are. So by looking at their expression, specifically at age-related genes, in terms of how they express, we have created and developed a fairly innovative anti-aging product platform. And this platform doesn't just apply to nutrition supplements. We can apply this particular platform equally to develop the next generation of skincare anti-aging products as well. So it's more than just about a new product development. It is ageLOC is really about a genetic breakthrough and how we can use these breakthrough discoveries to develop super class, a truly unique class of anti-aging products. So let me just stop there, and hopefully I've given you a pretty good understanding of the scanner and a little bit of glimpse into the future. And we have been launching a few ageLOC products now, and perhaps at another time we can talk in more detail related to those types of ageLOC products. So let me hand this over to Karen to continue this discussion.
And Dr. Chang, thank you so much for taking the time out of your incredibly busy day to join us, and we will be honored to have you back. And now we're going to move on to a couple of personal stories of how this technology and our amazing nutraceutical line have truly impacted the health of doctors in the field. Dr. David Feld has been a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist in Palm Beach for over 33 years. He's a graduate of the 6-year medical program at Boston University School of Medicine and has delivered over 10,000 babies during his career, having completed thousands of surgical procedures as well. But his true passion has always been nutrition and exercise and preventive medicine. He's an avid athlete and at 60 years of age has completed multiple half marathons and marathons, including the prestigious Boston Marathon. And nothing comes close to any of this when compared to the last 4 years of the implementation of the biophotonic scanner program in his office. As Dr. Oz has said, this is the ultimate nutritional lie detector, and recently Dr. Feld and his business partner Kathy Petrillo completed a promotional TV show for ABC as the intro to the new Dr. Oz show. So without further ado, Dr. David Feld, could you tell us a little bit about your experience with the scanner and what you see the future is for Pharmanex?
Well, gee, thanks, Karen. You know, you're putting me how do you follow Joe Chang? You know, I mean, the man is brilliant. I look up to him more than I have ever looked up to any of my surgical professors or anybody else. And I thank him for everything that he does every single day of his career. And he's really helped pave the way for our program. The scanner has made this real when it became available 4 years ago to me. And to other physicians, it was almost like it was too good to be true. And it was very exciting on May 17th when Dr. Oz did showcase it. So we have the ability to measure. We have supplements that are in the PDR that are guaranteed to work. And we have a business model that is second to none. So to make it very, very simple, in the last 4 years, I had never recommended a supplement prior to this because we had no way to measure it. We had no idea what to take. And then what I learned was really between 70 and 80% of all people living in America need to supplement. And 99% of us need to supplement. And 70, 80% of the people sitting in front of me are actually piecemealing something together. So the question isn't, do we supplement? The question is, with what? And in today's day and age especially, patients are looking for guidance. They're looking for recommendations. And now we can make intelligent nutritional recommendations. In the last 4 years, my partner and my nurse and I, Michelle, have scanned over 10,000 people. We've looked at somewhere in the vicinity, conservatively, of 300 to 400 supplement combinations. And our premier product, LifePak Nano, just blows everything out of the water. And the main reason, especially for physicians to understand this, the main reason that LifePak Nano works, it's not a vitamin. You know, physicians, I speak to physicians all the time, and one of the first things that they say is, well, Dave, vitamins don't work. And they're shocked when I say, you're right, they don't work. It's a $30 billion hoax out there. But the reason that we have products that work are basically two reasons. Number one, Joe Chang and Michael Chang and 80 to 100 PhD scientists have continued to analyze and expand and experiment, and LifePak Nano is the representation of that. It's the gold standard. And there's two N-words that I teach my patients and other doctors about LifePak Nano. Number one, we have a network of over 60 products. And number two, we have the bioavailability with nanotechnology. Now, in a time, Karen, where you and I both know, as so eloquently stated by you at the beginning, Medicare, Medicaid, insurance cuts, they're getting worse. Doctors are reeling from these issues. We are looking for additional revenues. I've never done anything in my office to produce additional revenues until now. For me personally, it had to be ethical. It had to be evidence-based. It had to be scientific, and it had to have technologic proof. And we have the hat trick. We have the scanner, we have the supplements, and we have Nu Skin Pharmanex. So it's very simple for doctors because they've forgotten their roots. And we have to get back to the basics. Talk to Joe Chang. He'll teach you again about the basics of cellular health. 100 trillion cells in our bodies, 500 mitochondria in each cell. We have to get back to the basics, and we have to help influence patient care with preventative medicine and with the guidance that this team has afforded us. And any physician on the line here, I request you do this. If you don't believe me and you don't believe Joe Chang, at least do your due diligence, because you're going to hear from another colleague of mine, Dr. David Rosenberg, and he's going to explain, as I have, that the average physician doesn't do his due diligence. And Karen, you know that as well as anybody else. But this, for any physicians out there, do your homework and understand that this is a gift that we can afford our patients. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks so much, David. It's an honor to have you on, and I know you're very actively on board with our physician referral program and are helping physicians across the country embrace this program and really make a difference in their patients' lives. And now we're going to turn to Dr. David Rosenberg. David is a 1988 grad of University of Miami School of Medicine with a residency in family practice from the Washington Hospital at Washington, Pennsylvania. He's been in private practice in Jupiter, Florida for the past 13 years. He holds several professional memberships and certifications from the American Board of Family Practice, the American Academy of Family Physicians, and the American Society of Concierge Physicians. Currently the medical director of the CareLink Free Clinic in Jupiter, Florida. He is also the medical consultant for the Girl Scouts of America, and a position that he's held since 1998. And the doctor is also the past chief of the Department of Family Physicians at both Jupiter Medical Center and Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. And when not in the office, Dr. Rosenberg and his family enjoy lots of community involvement and lots of outdoor activity, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce you to my friend and one of our greatest proponents, Dr. David Rosenberg.
Oh, thank you very much, Karen. I greatly appreciate this opportunity to speak to some of my colleagues on the phone who may not have heard what this is all about. And my colleague, Dr. David Feld, who I work closely with, and of course, Joe Chang, who's really helped us, as David stated, get this going. I've always been interested in prevention. As a family practitioner, that's the definition of what we do. We take care of all age groups, and we try to prevent catastrophes and crises. And what I found is my 2 hours of education in medical school really didn't prepare me, so I had to do my own studying. And then my patients, who constantly bring in articles upon articles from all the prevention magazines that are out there on the shelves, really forced me to even do more research because they wanted my recommendations. And what I used to do is say, go to your pharmacy and get a name brand supplement, and that should be fine, until I realized that I really wasn't giving them any more advice than they can get from a throwaway journal. So what I did is I studied, and I found that the company that we're talking about, Pharmanex, had a supplement that had science behind it. And if it's going to be proven, if it's going to meet my criteria, it's going to have science backing it. And so I did my own due diligence. I actually went out to the company and looked at the lab. I looked at the distribution center. I looked at the process that Dr. Chang discussed through standardization and the safety that went into this. And I had a conversation with Dr. Chang once, and I said, what is the most important thing that would allow me to feel comfortable with the supplements that your company makes? And he said safety. And I knew right there, it reminded me of the first day of medical school when they said, do no harm. That was critical to me. I had to make sure that there was safety in the supplements that I was recommending. Not only that, but I needed to have a way to validate what the patients were doing. And in was the biophotonic scanner is a perfect example of that device. So, you know, it's been very interesting the last 3.5 years that I've had my patients using the LifePak Nano and other Pharmanex supplements. I've seen several changes in them. I've seen not only their scores go up, but as a physician, anecdotally, I see chronic illnesses. And understanding that as a supplement company, there is no way that we can state that we change the way illnesses occur. But as a physician, I see that the amount of health in my practice has reached an all-new level. And my patients come in, and I had a gentleman come in the other day, and he said, you know, I don't know why I'm taking this supplement, Dr. Rosenberg. It's been 2 years. And then he turned to me and he said, you know what? I haven't felt better in my life. And this gentleman's 84 years old. These stories come in every day. But what made most sense to me is not the stories, but it was the science to back it so I would feel safe. And there was another interesting thing that happened 3.5 years ago. As I was trying to improve the health of my patients, my son started going to college. And the way the economy was treating healthcare over the last decade and the way tuition was going up significantly, realistically, I needed another source of revenue. And having run a free clinic for 10 years, I know how important it is to have money to run an organization, not to mention to run my practice. Well, with the added expense, the realities of college tuition for my first child and then my second and now my third in the next few years, the revenue from this program was substantial. And now I call my son's degree actually the Caltech Pharmanex degree. And it's kind of interesting because now that I've improved the health of my practice and my son has graduated, I can then think of the income I get as helping me towards retirement so that one day I'll have the true joy, which is to practice medicine for free to people who truly can't afford it more than I do now. And to me, that's going to be fun. And Pharmanex is helping me to do that. So I want to thank you, and I plan on coming back and telling you more stories of successes that I've had.
David, thank you so much. I really appreciate both you and Dr. Feld joining us this evening. And now it's my true pleasure to introduce you to Denny Pretz. Denny has been with Pharmanex now over 22 years and has helped literally hundreds of physicians across the country learn about this program and functions as a medical liaison, teaching doctors what the fundamentals of the BioScan program are and just how exactly it can impact not only their patients' health, but the financial health of their bottom line of their practice. So without further ado, welcome Denny Pretz.
Well, thanks, Karen. We had such a great call tonight with just tons of science and great testimonials, and I'm asking you doctors now to take off your science hat for a minute and put on your businessman's hat, because I'd like to go through the numbers of how this program can be of benefit to you and your patients in your practice. First of all, when you scan a patient, it's going to be a 90-second scan that will probably be performed by your nurse, and you're going to earn from every patient that you scan. You're going to be able to build a residual income through the supplements that you recommend to your patients. And then a third benefit was quite unexpected. We find that when a patient gets scanned, they go back into their community and they tell their spouses and their friends and their coworkers about what they saw in their doctor's office, and the doctor is constantly receiving new patient referrals because of the scanner. Now, I want to talk for a minute about return on investment. I know that when you buy equipment or lease equipment for your office, typically the return on the investment is 3 to 5 years. But with this program, the BioScan return on investment, I'm going to show you how it can be 5 to 20 times your investment on an annual basis. Now, we're going to charge each patient an initial copay, if you will, or charge to scan of a minimum of $20. Different parts of the country, they charge different amounts, but for this demonstration here, we're going to talk strictly about $20. And here's how you get your scanner. You know, your initial investment is going to be a product purchase plus a deposit on the scanner lease plus some shipping. It's going to end up, you're going to spend about $3,500 to get into the program. Now, I know every doctor on here would invest $3,500 in a stock if they knew at the end of the year it was going to be worth $25,000 to $50,000 annually. So let's talk for a second about how we earn money through scanning revenue. You're probably seeing 20 to 40 patients per day, but if we just use some minimum figures here and just scan 2 or 3 patients a day, that would be 50 scans per month, times that $20 figure for the scan. That's $1,000 per month, or $12,000 per year just in scanning fees. Again, that's a minimum figure, but you can see that already just by scanning a minimum amount of patients, we have a 3.5 times a return on investment. And as you heard Dr. Feld speak of scanning about 200 patients per month times $20 is $4,000 a month just in scanning fees. You're also going to earn on supplement revenue. And, you know, again, we're going to talk a really small number of patients participating in the program, but if you just had 50 patients purchasing $100 a month of one of our supplements, that will be sent to their home on what we call the automatic delivery rewards program, so the doctor doesn't have to inventory any of these supplements. The 50 patients doing $100 a month would create a sales volume of $5,000 per month. Now, when that happens, that triggers a free scanner lease. You no longer have to make a payment on your scanner lease in any month where you're doing $5,000 in sales volume. In addition, just off those 50 patients, there's a commission that would be earned annually of $13,200, and that's residual year after year because we have about a 90% retention rate for our patients who get scanned, start taking our supplements, watch the number go up. They literally just stay on our products forever. But if you take that $13,200 that you would earn just from the 50 patients and $12,000 that you would earn just by scanning 2 or 3 patients a day, that's $25,200 in annual income, and now we're at 7.5 times return on investment. And again, we've done the bare minimum of working the program in your practice. Now, how many of your patients will participate? We know that you've got thousands of files, and a minimum of 10% of them will want to increase their antioxidant levels and improve their health. The national average shows us that for every 100 patients that you put on our program of auto delivery of our supplements, it's going to equal about $30,000 a year in residual income plus the scanning fees. So now it's time to ask yourself, you know, do you have an exit strategy? Do you have a retirement date in mind? You know, how are you going to live the lifestyle that you've developed as being a doctor once you retire? And we can show you how to take this residual income into retirement with you. Let's suppose over the next 2 or 3 years that you put 300 patients on our program. That would be a $90,000 a year residual income plus scanning fees, so really over $100,000 a year that you can take into retirement. And if you were to sell the practice, that income stays with you. It doesn't stay with the practice, it stays with you. So let's talk about the rental agreement for the scanner. It's really, it says a lease, but it's really a rental agreement because it's 36 months at $209 a month, but they don't hold you to it. You know, you can get out of this lease at any time you want. If 6 months down the road it wasn't working in your practice, you could simply box up the scanner and send it back and stop making the $209 a month payment. But our healthcare practitioners who work this program really never make a lease payment, and here's why. In any month where you add 5 patients to an ADR, an automatic delivery of any of our supplements, 5 patients in a month, they waive that $209 payment. And again, once you have 5,000 or more in sales volume moving through your organization or your practice each month, there's never a lease payment. And that can be accomplished with 40 to 50 patients on the program. And as you'll see, I mean, we're going to do way bigger numbers than that in your practice. So let's review the program benefits. First and foremost, we're going to make your patients healthier. I think that's the aim of every doctor on the call. Secondly, you're going to earn a minimum of $12,000 a year by scanning in your office. You're going to build a residual income through the supplements and take into retirement, and really that number can be as big as you want it to be depending on how aggressive you get with scanning the patients and recommending the supplements. You'll have a free scanner lease. It makes your practice high-tech and cutting-edge. You're going to receive new patient referrals, and I think you'll have to agree with me, it's an extraordinary return on investment. Now, here's the program will only work and only be successful if the doctor uses the Pharmanex products to increase his or her own antioxidant score, meaning you need to get your baseline as soon as possible. Then start taking our products and watch that score rise yourself, because you're going to be recommending these products to your patients. All your patients come to you and respect you and love you, and when they hear you say, this is what I'm taking and this is what you should take, I want you to take it for the next 90 days, and if we don't raise your number, we're going to give you all your money back, and we're going to scan you from now on for free. A very high percentage of your patients are going to participate in the program. Also, it's essential that we compensate the staff for the scanning and doing the follow-up. So generally, you'll get one or two of your staff up to speed on how to do the scanning. They will do the scanning. They will hand you the chart with the number on it. You'll recommend the products, and when you'll send them back to the staff to place the order and to do a follow-up to get them back in for their 30-day and 60-day follow-up scans. Generally, we'll take $5 of the $20 scan fee and bonus the staff for every scan they perform. So it's been my experience that if you have a staff member that scans 20 people the first week and you hand them $5 per scan or $100 at the end of the week, the next week they'll scan 40 people or more because they love those bonuses and they love participating in the program and helping the patients get healthy. And it's absolutely essential that you charge for the first scan. Sometimes we get very generous doctors who say, "Oh, I'm going to get the scanner, but I want to scan my patients for free." The program will fail if you do not charge for the first scan. And when you get into our training that we're going to provide, we will show you exactly how that works. So we'd love to assist you and train you and your staff on how to implement the BioScan Wellness Program. If you didn't get enough science tonight, my gosh, we've got white papers, clinical trials, and studies on the scanner. They can all be made available to you on request, and there's more science here than you can believe. So we hope you see this like we see this, and we'd love to help you implement this into your practice.
So on that note, everyone, good evening. Thanks for bearing with the technical challenges we had earlier. And be sure to get back to the person that put you on this webinar and this call tonight to get your questions answered if you have any other questions. And we would love to welcome you to the BioScan family. Take care, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my privilege for over 20 years to represent our company. My background is I'm from a multi-generational medical family, and prior to coming on board with NSE and Pharmanex, I spent time in the medical device industry. Making the switch from working on the treatment side of disease and aging to the prevention side of the equation has truly been one of the most purposeful moves in my career to date. And there is no question that today's physicians are facing daunting challenges, from the 21% decrease in Medicare reimbursement. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my privilege for over 20 years to represent our company. My background is I'm from a multi-generational medical family, and prior to coming on board with Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my privilege to represent our company. My background is I'm from a Good evening, everyone. My name is Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my privilege for over 20 years to represent our company. My background is I'm from a multi-generational medical family, and prior to coming on board with NSE and PharmaNext, I spent time in the medical device industry. Making the switch from working on the treatment side of disease and aging to the prevention side of the equation has truly been one of the most purposeful. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my privilege for over 20 years to represent our five products actually on the shelves of over 38,000 pharmacies and health food stores. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my privilege for over 20 years to represent our company. My background Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's been my gift. Tonight we'll show you the ultimate win-win, a wellness program for your practice in the natural supplement industry. And they launched the company with products, with five products actually on the shelves of over 38,000 pharmacies and health food stores. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Johnson, and it's